Since the beginning of time, humans have always enjoyed carnage. Whether it be due to a war fought for the glory of one's country, or a sacrifice being made in order to please some unseen deity who also happens to love carnage. Humans have clung so tightly to this brutal theme that we have based many of our greatest achievements on it. Examples include things like metal armor and weapons, architectural monuments, flying machines and driving machines, and even the present-day nuclear bomb. Don't believe me? Look around. Not only are there actual wars being fought on the ground, but there are also gruesome movies, bloody television shows, and an overabundance of disasters in news reports, violent video games, and songs, all about the beauty of battle, guts, and destruction. Of course, the Aztec people of what is now the country of Mexico were no different. Snuggled deep in the heart of Central America lies a carved stone, made of andesite and known best for its massive proportions in the depictions of battle. The cylindrical Stone of Tizoc stands about 3 feet tall and stretches just over 8 feet across. It was named the Stone of Tizoc for the ruler who probably commissioned it, his rule being between AD 1481 and 1486 in a city called Tenochtitlan, or present-day Mexico City. On the top of the stone we can see a massive Aztec representation of the sun. The lateral side of the stone depicts a warrior, presumably Tizoc himself, 15 times over, slaying different deities. The scenes are flanked by horizontal bands depicting a night sky above and a terrestrial serpent or earth monster below. As in accordance with many different Aztec pieces, including the temple stone built by Montezuma II in 1507, there were typically earth symbols carved opposite sun symbols. Because of this, we can assume that there may possibly be an earth symbol relief on the bottom of the Tizoc stone, seeing as how there is a sun symbol relief atop it. But overall, very little is written on whether or not this is the case, since the stone is so massive, coming to a solid 9.5 tons. Another important aspect of the stone is a massive divot or bowl-shaped carved out of the center of the top of the Tizoc stone. It is accompanied by a groove which comes from the divot and runs all the way down one side, interrupting the sun relief atop and also one of the conquest scenes on the lateral side. The Stone of Tizoc has also had a very complicated and long history. Though it currently resides in the Mexica Hall of the National Museum of Anthropology in Mexico City, it wasn't always there, though the museum is closer to home than one might think. What is present-day Mexico City, the capital of Mexico, used to be the capital of the Aztec nation, and at that time was called Tenochtitlan. The stone would have been built there under Tizoc's 5-year rule. It sat in front of a temple called Yopico, which was dedicated to the Aztec god Toltec. But the stone did not lie there alone. It had a sister who is now referred to as the Archbishop's Stone because of the archbishop who wrote of it in 1458 upon discovering it. Archaeological research suggests that these two stones had a very important purpose in ritualistic battle and sacrifice. One, probably the Archbishop's Stone, would have been a small arena on top of which a captive would be given poor weaponry and forced to battle several warriors who would fight him until he was fatally wounded. After being wounded, he would be moved to the Stone of Tizoc, where he would be tied down and his organs would be ritualistically cut from his body and sacrificed. Knowing these facts about the stone makes it easier to understand why it was buried along with its companion, then dug up and reburied several times before landing itself in the National Museum of Anthropology. The irony in the stone is that the ruler who had it built, Tizoc, was an absolutely terrible ruler. It is believed that the stone's depiction of Tizoc conquering different deities, a metaphor for him conquering the deities of those who he considered to be subordinate, or even a metaphor for him conquering neighboring nations who worship those deities. But in reality, Tizoc was known for being a fairly poor strategist and never really conquering anything. The stone is entirely propagandistic, which also happens to be something that humans have been obsessed with since the dawn of time.